Hey guys, before we begin this very special episode of the Tea Shakespeare podcast, I want to give a quick shout out and talk about how this podcast is supported by a grant from the Arts Council of Cumberland County and Fayetteville, the North Carolina Arts Council, and in part by contributions by the city of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, and other community partners. We thank you so much for your support and patronage, and we hope you enjoy this very special episode of the Tea Shakespeare podcast. Thank you.
Y'all ready for this? I have a love-hate relationship with college campuses because parking is a doozy, and sometimes it's not a good time. I'm also in my mid-20s, so whenever you're trying to find parking, and then you see little college kids, no offense to college kids, but then you see college kids walking around having a good time, and then they look at you, they're like, you don't go to this school.
Hey, old.
What are you doing here? Hey, oldie. Aren't you like in your midlife crisis?
Wow, you can't be on your parents' insurance plan anymore?
Oh my god, tragic.
Fuck.
So in case
Too close to home.
in case you guys didn't read the title, this is a very, very special episode of the Tea Shakespeare podcast where I have the entire, let me do a little round robin. Look at all these beautiful, beautiful people. Okay.
Oh my god, you guys look so good on camera.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And then let me cut back to the ugliest member. This guy right here. I'm here with the entire cast of Hamlet, directed by the one and only Claudia. Say hi, Claudia.
Hello.
And we're going to do a little round robin introducing everyone's self. So I'm going to start from Claudia, and then we'll make our way back over to me.
Sure. My name is Claudia Wargadine, and want a little more info?
Sure. I mean, if you want.
All right. I've been in the theater scene here at the Gilbert, and just started with Sweet Tea. I'm very happy with that. Since I was in high school, I'm a theater arts teacher at Grace Creek High School, going on this is my 9th year. And I am the director of this show. I'm very happy to have such a wonderful cast. I'm going to pass it to you, Alex.
Hello, my name is Alexandria Jones. This is my second play. This is my first time getting into professional acting.
Yay! Yeah. And she's killing it. She's killing it, guys.
All right, Matera.
Yeah. I'm Matera. That's me. Oh, okay. Yep.
Sorry. I said your name and then went immediately to the next person.
Try and lip sync it. Play it off.
There you go.
Okay. I'm Matera. I'm also an actor.
Really?
I know, crazy. Just moved here from Colorado.
Who are you playing, Matera?
Oh, geez. Claudius Polonius, the ghost, the gravedigger, and Osric, the best character. Yeah, go ahead, Abby.
Hey, I'm Abby.
What's your last name, girl?
Oh, yeah, I have one of those. It's Colborn, not Colburn. Don't say it Colburn. That's not my name. Colborn. Anyways, I am also an actor. I just graduated with my BFA in acting from Shenandoah University. I'm also kind of the fight and intimacy not choreographer, but coordinator for this show. I'm playing I'm not playing Hamlet. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. You're cut, Xenon. Spoilers.
That's my
Doing this on air.
No, sorry. I'm playing Horatio, Ophelia, Laertes, and Guildenstern. And I was playing someone else, but now I'm not.
And unofficially Hamlet as of today.
And yeah, also Hamlet. Just the whole show.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're cut. It's just me now.
One-woman show.
My dream.
And then finally,
I'm Xenon Winslow. I'm from Durham, North Carolina. Been doing local theater here for my whole life, pretty much. I just did Pericles with Sweet Tea, and so did Abby. I was Pericles, and now I am apparently out of the show because Abby's playing Hamlet too. We got it covered. I'm playing Hamlet and also Bernardo.
excellent. So, and I'm not a part of the show, but so I won't get into who I am. You know, it's not that important.
You can be Hamlet.
Yeah, you
Oh, the spot's open. No, it's already taken. I'll be like the understudy. I'll be the swing that
That's
like.
my job.
Oh, you're the understudy too?
Yeah.
You're Hamlet and the understudy?
I am the backbone of this production.
So in case
Just
you
not
guys
the knees.
How dare you?
So in case you guys don't know, this is the Sweet Tea Shakespeare podcast, and a little housekeeping for you guys. In the last episode I was talking about us migrating to video. We're going to video podcast. We're super, super excited about it. Very excited. We're also adding on YouTube as one of our distributors. So all those people that don't have any of the other podcast streaming stuff, this is your chance. This is your moment.
Can I do a YouTube exclusive?
Oh my goodness.
If you
Hold on.
look at the camera,
Hold on. Let me get to you. Oops.
Wait.
There you go. There you go.
this is not mine. But it is beautiful, isn't it?
She's been waiting for this one. This is her moment to shine.
State Fair, super cheap
Wow.
rocks, xenons. I stole it from her car.
We are
We
are not sponsored by the State Fair, just so you guys know, but a nice little shout out. But so yeah, we are moving to video podcast. Super excited about it. And yeah, like I said before, we're moving to twice a month episodes or once a week, depending on what all is going on. I'm not sure exactly when this episode is going to be up, but I'm going to be assuming that Richard has just finished, and Othello is doing their last show, or they just did their last show. And then right now we got the Hamlet going up early November. What are the dates again, Claudia?
4th, 5th, and 6th.
4th, 5th, and 6th. Perfect. Cool. So very, very excited about that. And yeah, and then we also have No Lit Sherlock and then Behold coming in for the Christmas season. We're super excited about that, and we'll get to more on that in the next episode. But right now we're here talking about Hamlet. Super excited. We got the entire cast and crew and just about almost everyone involved in here in one room together. And this is the first time we're doing this. The first episode with video in the studio. The second video episode in total. Like, you guys are making history, and I'm very glad to be sharing this experience with you.
Also, fun thing about the cast and crew, the thing is, the cast is the crew.
No way! Whoa!
We're doing it all.
So I'm gonna start this glorious set of questions I prepared for you guys to talk about Hamlet, to give all of our audiences like a first look at what the show is going to be like, because we all know that Hamlet is one of the, if not the most popular Shakespearean play. But we have something brand spanking new that I'd like Claudia to tell us about. It's our SIP series. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So SIP was started by Jen. So what they want to do, they want to tour, they want to take shows and tour them to schools around Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill area, and here in Fayetteville, which is an awesome opportunity. As a teacher, it's hard sometimes to find the funding to go on those field trips because you got to pay for bus, you got to pay for the bus driver. So Shakespeare is becoming more accessible for teachers and for students, for us to be able to take it to them. So it's also a kind of unique experience, which I'm sure we'll dip into later, but because we're touring, we're keeping it small, we're keeping it minimal, but we're still keeping it theatrical with very talented actors playing loads and loads of parts, as you just heard, and then doing some all kinds of things with lights, as best we can.
Flashlights.
Yes, flashlights.
Lots of flashlights.
Some really cool things with flashlights.
Shadows.
Shadows, yes.
Brains.
Yeah, and brains. If that,
Not to
want
spoil.
you
It's like
to-
the out of context spoilers.
So this is the first time that they are doing it, and I hope they keep doing it as an educator in Fayetteville. It will just be a wonderful thing. If you are a teacher, you should book us. If anything, just to see these wonderful actors. They all bring so many different talents. As you heard, they're also the crew, but they're so knowledgeable. I'm sorry, I'm dipping into a lot right now.
You're fine. No, this is your moment.
Right.
This is you got a microphone, you got a camera. This
Hell
is your
yeah,
time to
feeling it
shine.
now. They're so knowledgeable. So they bring history with them. They bring stage combat with them. They bring the kind of crew side, and then they also bring the many different parts they do. So a lot of versatility. Even just being able to sit in a room and having a talk back with these actors, theatrical artists, would be a wonderful thing for you to have. So. Yes, so please look out for the SIP series, starting with Hamlet, but hopefully to continue.
Okay, so kind of opening the floor to anyone who wants to chime in, and Claudia included if you just have so much more to say about it. But how does it feel like? Because this is a first of its kind show, so I don't know if you guys have had anything similar in the past in your acting history in the past, or if this is like all new terrain for you, completely trend setting. Absolutely. So, how do you guys feel about this kind of production?
Well, we spent the first few weeks just trying to figure out what SIP was an acronym for.
What did we land on?
Shakespeare in Progress. It's not that. It's not short for it. It doesn't stand for anything. It's a sip of an unspecified beverage. Sweet tea.
Probably sweet tea.
Yeah. Fireball.
That's perfect for for all the overthinkers out there, just thinking like this has got to mean something different. No, we're just sipping.
Yeah, that's me and Xenon. Overthinkers.
Because Hamlet is normally like a 3 to 4 hour play, and we're clocking in at like an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hence the sip.
Hence
it
the
was
sip.
very
It's the whole
interesting to get the script because of the way that it was cut together at first. Actually, no, never mind.
We don't need to go into all
We don't
that.
need to go into that. That was all I had.
Nice.
Yeah.
We love that.
I feel like a kid in a hidden, unique candy store. Like, what I mean is just, this is like my element, but I'm just surrounded by like just so many people who just got, they're just so talented, and I'm just like, wow, like, I'm just like in a candy store right now.
I'm going to cry.
Well, what if I told you like, yeah, when you say that, it makes me think of like you're just so amazed by everything you see there. But what if I told you like you were a part of that? Like you are one of those. Like who's to say? Yeah, you are the candy.
Wow.
Yes.
So excellent. Yeah, I'm very excited because I was shooting that rehearsal, and the way you guys use those flashlights, I'm like, hold on, wait a second. Because the only other production of Hamlet that I've done was a lit series where there's like plenty of fun times, alcohol and improv and added, you know what I'm saying? But seeing you guys take it on and use it in such a minimalist in a way, but so unique style. And I'm such a sucker for some visual storytelling. And the way you guys use flashlights is just, it's so good. I just absolutely love it. And that's not saying it because, I got everyone right here in front of me. That's a genuine like statement. Like
So sorry.
No, you're good.
I remembered what I actually was going to say. Oh God, it's leaving me again.
Hurry.
So the only thing similar to this experience that I could say is sort of like it is when I was also in Pericles with Xenon, because of just I played, I think, 10 characters in that show. And so it was like I don't know, the just like quick, I feel like that show almost primed me a little bit for this one because it is like, it's a very different mode that you have to shift yourself
The quick
into.
change element.
As an actor, not even just, quick change, but like not even just costumes, like quick character. I'm so good at snapping, by the way.
That was powerful.
Thank you.
It wasn't
Is that
right on the
your
mic
resume?
either, but it came in perfectly. It was
Yeah,
great.
if it was, it would be too powerful.
Yeah, I feel
I
you.
know.
Below the mic.
But also just, the only exposure to Hamlet I really had, I've been saying that I need to read Hamlet for like several years, and I just never have because I have ADD, and if I can procrastinate, I will. And life has been crazy. But coming into it this way and looking at it like at a boiled down, you do lose some things, but like, I don't know, it's just been very interesting to explore and fall in love with all, like, Horatio and Ophelia, they're my babies. I love them a lot.
Right.
I'm learning to love Laertes too. Those are like my big three.
Horatio's a great time.
Yeah, you played.
We're Horatio buddies. So
Horatio Bros.
I keep
Horatio
telling her like, oh, in the full text this happens, and she's like, what? Seriously?
you're like saying it like it's gossip. You'll never believe what happens next.
According to the ancient lore.
the ancient text.
She brings out the scrolls. She's ready to go.
The first folio.
Yeah.
I've worked on the administrative side of tours like this in the past. Last year, what did we do? We did 12th Night and Julius Caesar at the Colorado Shakespeare Festival, and I helped like schedule all of those things, but and helped with workshops. But certainly being a part of it artistically is a lot different. And I think what stands out about this production too is just how collaborative everything is. Like hearing all of the ideas in the room and getting to figure out things together in concert with Claudia's leadership is really fun and unique. You won't see a production of like this anywhere else because it's truly a 5-headed production.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if you guys have heard of what's it, Star Kid, but
Yes.
I was getting big vibes from that. And listeners, in case you don't know what that is, it's a musical theater group of literally just a bunch of young people, and like young as in like they're 20s, 30s, right? And they're just a bunch of talented friends that just get together and they write musicals and they put them on and sell them. And it's like in Chicago or something.
That's literally my dream.
And it's like, it's a whole business. And when I came and shot for you guys, that's the same vibes I was getting, where you guys are just on that element and you guys are just brainstorming and you're just making it work. And you're making a whole production from that. And I absolutely adore that. And that's why this is one of those more unique and very artistic types of productions. So with that being said, with Hamlet being so popular, so well known, and as one might refer to ancient from earlier in the episode, what's your guys' history with Hamlet? Have you guys done this production? Doozy
on last. Doozy on last.
So we'll start with our director, and we can make our way around. And if this is your first time, you can just hit us with, this is my first time.
Hit 'em with the facts.
Yeah.
As far as Hamlet, I've never been in it. I've read it, I've studied it in high school and college, but outside of that, I've never directed it, never had the luck to be in it. So this is my...
God, that's a task.
Well, I have these people. So.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Perfect.
I literally just came from doing random monologues in my room to going on tour, doing Shakespeare.
Just like that.
This is a big jump, and I feel like I'm moving so fast. Like, I'm just like, whoa. So I'm just like going with the flow with everything, and I'm loving it. Like, yeah. Oh, I did do Shakespeare in high school, but I was course number 4, so I was introducing the acts. I wasn't the act.
Ooh, she got a number in her name.
Now
She
I'm
cool.
just like, in your face, Mr. Baker.
Oh! I gotta bleep out the names. No slander.
Mr. Baker's awesome. He's so great. Hamlet was my first introduction to Shakespeare. I did Hamlet camp in elementary school.
What?
I still have the wooden sword. I painted a giant snake around. Yeah, it's great. It's in my basement somewhere.
Put that on your resume.
Yeah, I worked with it in middle school too, but did it for the first time full out in high school. We had a production that went to state, and I played Gertrude. Yeah, it was a time. I was telling them about an unfortunate slapping incident in the show where someone's jaw almost got dislocated by yours truly.
Oh my God, that's right.
But it didn't. Yeah, and then I've just been around Shakespeare in general a lot, but yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, kind of similar to Matera. I've kind of just lived, like all of the projects I've been able to be a part of in the past couple of years have all just been like classical, mostly Shakespeare, a couple of Greek things. I love Greek theater, by
Greek
the way.
theater, it's fantastic.
It's, oh my God.
Highly recommend.
I could talk, that's a different podcast.
My awakening was Percy Jackson Olympians. That's all I needed.
Of course. If you do an episode on Medea, if Sweet Tea does Medea, call me and call her. Call everybody in this room, actually.
All right, gotcha.
Anyways, you guys should do Medea. Sorry. Anyways.
Lysistrata.
Oh, yes. Ajax. I love Ajax. Okay, sorry. I haven't, like I said, I haven't read Hamlet until this time, but I have always been very drawn to Horatio and Ophelia. I saw, the only other time that I've really like been exposed to the text was the school that I went to had like a Shakespeare troupe, and they did a production my sophomore year. It was a show. It was fine. It was fine.
It was one of the productions
ever. It was just
ever.
weirdly cut, okay? It was just really weirdly cut. They gave Polonius's line to like one of the players for some reason. Like, you know that whole thing where Hamlet is like, hey, that's not tree, that cloud.
No, they did not make him do that to the players.
Yeah, they
Really?
did. Yeah, they did.
He respects the players. He doesn't
Yeah.
respect Polonius. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I know. And it was very odd, but it's fine. The costumes were cool.
The Shakespeare
And the
podcast does not promote any ill will on anyone,
No, no.
any bad blood between any other business or
I do.
company.
But no. It's fine. Cut that out. No. It's fine. I'm just bitter. They never cast me in anything. Go. Get the mic off.
So, my first Shakespeare production was when I was 9. I played Juliet in a homeschooler directed and run Romeo and Juliet.
Amazing.
The balcony was the wall on her back porch patio. We had a whole lawn full of elderly people who said it was the best Shakespeare they'd ever seen. Since then, I studied the whole canon pretty extensively in high school. By the time I was 19, I had read every play, studied about 20 of those.
Wait, not to interrupt, but was this wasn't like you said in high school, but was this like a school assignment, or were you just that fascinated?
I was homeschooled, so I had I took a bunch of outside classes geared toward homeschoolers since there's such a big homeschooler community in the Raleigh area, and I was lucky enough to get invited to join the Shakespeare classes of Joan Monig, who lives in Raleigh. I think she works at a couple different schools, but she would lead homeschool classes studying particular plays. I would be in she would have different age groups, and she would let me be in all three, so I'd be in 3 different play classes a year. And then after I aged out of that, I just kept studying it personally. And Hamlet was my baby for years and years until I read Troilus and Cressida, and then until I read Coriolanus. Just moving up the complexity.
It's not a phase. It's not a phase.
Absolutely not, no. Hamlet may be a phase, but it's like a moon phase in that it keeps coming back around. And I never thought I would actually get to play Hamlet, but if anyone had asked me at any point what my dream role was, that's what I would have said. So this feels like a bit of an early peak, gotta say.
Don't say that.
Girl, this is not going to be the last time you play Hamlet.
I keep telling people, I'm hoping this gets to be, I get to call this the first time I played Hamlet.
It will be.
The time.
Several times Xenon has turned to me randomly and just gone, I'm Hamlet. And it's so cute.
You should see Xenon in this part. Your instinct is so grand to watch, and it kind of gives an ability to live in the moment. So each time we run a scene, it may be a little different, but it's completely in the moment and it's just a wonderful thing to watch. So.
Thank you, Claudia.
Your acting technique is incredible. Yeah.
I'm really excited to see this. Let me see. What did I? Oh man, it's happening to me too. Because you were talking about you lost your train of thought, and guess what? You never guess what happened.
It's contagious.
Me too. Yeah. So you guys, I got some bad news for you guys. I got some really bad news for you guys. My first Shakespeare exposure was the worst possible way one could imagine.
Tell me.
And that's high school English class at public school.
Wait, mine too. Wait a minute, mine too. Now that I think about it.
So during it was like sophomore English, we had to read Romeo and Juliet.
Yep.
And of course, that's the first Shakespeare sin. I want to take a little moment. Let me see if I can look at the camera. Talk to our listeners. I know, if your first exposure to Shakespeare has been in a high school English class, it is very, very hard to come back from. It's so easy to turn you off guard.
Especially if they do that popcorn reading thing where they have everybody, or they pick, everybody picks a part, and of course, I read for Juliet when I did this in freshman year, and I was giving, you guys. I was the Mask of Night, or whatever you say. But everybody else was just wherefore art thou, Romeo? And it's guys.
You were giving main character energy.
I am.
Absolutely.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, so the thing, and I was saying that the first sin of Shakespeare is to read Shakespeare, because you're not really supposed to read it when it's a play. It's meant to be acted and performed. Yeah, so it's you really have to see a Shakespeare experience. And I know the iambic pentameter, all the dialogue can be confusing if you don't know like the cliff notes going into it. Like, but it shouldn't feel like a chore. It shouldn't feel like a homework assignment, right? And that was my first sin, where we read Romeo and Juliet, popcornery, in the same exact way you're talking about. We watched the Leonardo DiCaprio, which is so insane.
I watched that one too.
It's so insane, but I just absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I was so turned off at the time, but I'm like, holy moly, this
Icon.
I know.
He didn't.
I can't look away.
He didn't know anything about Shakespeare. He just acted. He was going off of his instincts. Imagine.
And they have guns. It's like
They have guns.
Something feels illegal here, but I don't know what. I can't pinpoint it. It was a very, very awful first experience with Shakespeare. I was very turned off. And then just so happened, years later, after high school, I had an old buddy of mine say, hey, I'm auditioning for this Much Ado About Nothing, and you should audition for it. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. He was auditioning for Benedict. I was auditioning for Claudio. I got cast as Benedict. He got cast as Claudio.
At least both of you were cast.
Right. And then I met my fiance during that show. So
Oh my
like,
gosh, was she Beatrice?
no, she was Hero. So it was like,
The twist.
it was so close yet so far away. But it was, and I'm not saying I love Shakespeare because I've met the love of my life from it. No, nothing like that. But like, when you see it in that different light, especially from an actor's perspective, if you give it that chance and just open your heart to it, like you'd be surprised. And Much Ado is like one of my favorite.
Oh my gosh.
It's my favorite show right now.
Yeah.
That and Two Noble Kinsmen are my favorite shows to perform in, and I love to have the opportunity again. So
You mentioned something about it being a chore to sit through Shakespeare, and if it's okay, I would love to give the same talk that I give to my parents before they come see a show.
yeah, pull that mic closer to you and give me what you got.
Hey everybody, I'm gonna give you the ASMR experience of. Hey guys, so today we're gonna be going to a Shakespeare show, and this is what you have to do. So think about it. If you like musicals, I can't do that the whole time.
just turned their volumes up. It's like, no.
Hey. Okay, listen up. So, when you listen to a musical, you don't catch all the words and the songs the first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can catch the vibe. You kind of have to do the same thing with Shakespeare, especially if you know the play. Obviously, that's different. But I'm talking about first timers. Go in. You need to get the vibe of the show. You're supposed to be appreciating the way that the words kind of like. To me, I picture like a rushing stream and the way that like the water tumbles over the stones. That's kind of how like, it's like a river of words is flowing out of. It's poetry, yes, thank you. It's poetry, and you're just the reason that it's like that, and he didn't just do that because he wanted it to be hard to understand. He did it because he was trying to fit a very specific formula. And so when the sentence structure is all weird, Sinan, please correct me if I'm wrong. It's because he's trying to. One of the reasons is possibly because he's trying to fit it into that ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum pattern.
And sometimes literally rhyming.
Literally rhyming,
Scene changes, especially midsummer.
Yeah, in Shakespeare's time, they would talk about going to hear a play, not going to see a play. So that's another reason why the verse was so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, also, I believe if it's good Shakespeare, you should be able to go in blind and at least understand. Maybe you won't get all the complexities. Maybe you won't get you should get the dirty jokes. I feel like those are transcendent.
And they're always there, just so you guys know. Look out for them. They're always there.
Shakespeare was a slut. Anyways.
Again, no ill will on businesses
no, I mean that as a
or deceased poets.
Positive. Come on now.
After we got cast in Pericles, we went and saw Much Ado, Sweet Tea's Much Ado that they just did.
Yes.
'Cause our music director for Pericles was also in that. Shout out, Mia.
We love
you, Mia. We love your
Mia.
cats. Anyway, and your dogs. And Abby, that was you. It was your first time seeing Much Ado or reading it ever, right?
Yeah.
And no, we were the best audience members.
We
We
were
were right in the
screaming.
front. There's a nice photo of us. Like someone took a photo from behind. We're both going woo! But Abby understood it perfectly. Laughed at all the same jokes I did. Just going in completely blind.
And that's what I was saying earlier, because Claudia, you were saying this is your one of your earlier exposures to this beast of Hamlet and stuff, and especially in this new format way, like that is, I mean, because like you guys were saying that, and in this day and age, even though it's popular, a lot of people are prone to get it, but there's still a good amount, and especially in this community, there's a good amount that's not like as well versed as the actors here. And we have to translate that verbally and non-verbally to them. And so from a production standpoint, it's the director's responsibility to be able to do that. And so that's, when you were saying that, I was so fascinated because it's just, that's such a daunting task to begin with. And for it to be so early on, that's a lot.
Well, I think, and that goes into kind of my experience with Shakespeare. English class, yeah. and
Absolutely.
it would seem very stuffy to me, very old white guy stuffy, very British and proper. And it's, to me, it's supposed to be for the people. It should be diverse, which we have. You should see different experiences on stage. And so that's part of it. And then also making sure, from a production standpoint, and I think this is something we all are doing in the process and helping each other do, is making sure that the audience is getting the gist, whether it is through shadows, whether it's through a look, movement.
Movement is super important.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Asides. I think it's very important that you take time to work on thinking about your audience. Are they getting this? And if not, what can we do to make that happen?
Yeah.
I was gonna say something that really like unstuffs Shakespeare, I guess, is having movement and having. I just think movement is so important in all facets of theater, but specifically classical text, because so much of communication is nonverbal that it's a lot easier to understand if your body is mirroring what you're saying. I know that sounds like basic, but
No,
I just wanted to say it.
I think it's. I mean, yes, it's pretty, but it doesn't have to be.
It's also guttural.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, absolutely. I like that.
All right, I'm gonna do something unheard of and unspoken of. I'm gonna ask another round robin question, but I'm gonna start from this side and go over there, because my camera 3 is dying. So I'm gonna do the unspeakable, right? I'm gonna do the unspeakable thing. And while you guys are talking and chatting it up, I'm gonna try and replace the battery mid episode.
Sneaky.
I'm
So-
third either way, which is kind of fun.
There you go. You win.
I win.
Because you don't have the pressure of being the first one, and you don't have the pressure of selling it in the best for last. So, no offense, Xenon and Claudia. Y'all got this.
But a little bit of offense.
Right? So tell me about, like, I'm gonna start off with shoot. Oh, I'll do dream. Like, what would be, and this doesn't, I asked this in the last episode. What would be a Shakespeare or non-Shakespeare, musical, non-musical, any production like you would love to be a part of, and a character? Oh yeah, I know this is a little off riff, but so I'm gonna start right here. Get a second to gather yourself, or if someone absolutely knows it, you can jump in. So, what would be your dream production and who you'd play?
The Second Coming of Joan of Arc by Carolyn Gage. She is the definitive lesbian playwright.
Yes.
She wrote a ton of one-woman shows. Second Coming is one of those. It's about a 30-minute one-woman show. Joan gets on stage. It's a modernized version. She's actually supposed to be in camo, so hire me, Carolyn.
Perfect.
I've actually communicated with her via email, and I know she likes me. So
Icon.
this will absolutely be something that I do someday, but it's a contemporary, realistic perspective on the reality of being in that role as a woman. And if not that, then I would also like to be in St. Joan, because I saw a production of that in New York City a couple of years ago that was mind-blowing. I think any variation of the Joan of Arc story has incredible potential as a tragedy. Obviously, with, my penchant for Hamlet, I clearly have a thing for tragedy, and Joan of Arc is the best form of female experience tragedy I've encountered, so that's what I would want to bring to the theater world. Okay.
So I have
Brace yourselves.
Shut up. Anyways, God. Yeah, no, you should though, because I'm gonna talk a lot. I have several dreams, many in fact. So one of them is to play Eurydice in Hadestown. I Xenon and I talk about that musical a good amount, and oh my God, dude, I just feel very called to that world and that play, and I actually started in dance. I danced at a studio from the time I was 3 until I was 16, so that was my introduction to the arts, and that's why I think a lot of my like movement-based works have always just made a lot of sense to me, and that kind of leads into another dream of mine. I also love devised theater. Devised theater is my shit. I directed and kind of wrote, kind of just facilitated the creation of a devised piece when I was a sophomore in college, right before the pandemic. It's one of the things that I'm most proud of. It was at a student work festival. It's really cool. They cancel classes for a week so you can rehearse and then you perform everything on Saturday. It's super sick. Anyways, I just want to try a different way of devising because where I started was everybody brought in an item and it was very like, we discussed them and like figured out like what they meant to each person and like the similarities and the differences between them. And then from there we were able to pull like a through line of like family and missing people that are like very far from you. And we ended up with this really cool piece. But then I took I'm talking so much, guys. Please tell me if you want me to speed it up.
I'm still trying to figure out.
Okay, cool. I will keep talking. I will keep. Battery King. So my senior year, I took a devised theater workshop where they start with like physical movement exercises, and from there they find a script kind of throughout, and it takes them like 2 years to put together a whole story. It's just these 2 women, and they just do movement exercises and find a story from that. And so I really want to do another devised piece, and then also I want to do a one-woman show. That's it. No, it's not, but those are the 3 that came to mind.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm more interested in, the people and the atmosphere I get to create shows with as opposed to specific productions. Like, I have characters I really enjoy. I played Beatrice recently, and that was super fun. She's great. I like Veronica from Heathers. I really like the 39 Steps. But yeah, a lot of, So if the character speaks to me, awesome. But I really love troupe and repertory work. So getting to work with the same people over and over again is really fun for me. And getting to create shows. I love playback. I have my playback troupe back in Colorado that I love dearly. Also love devising. We did like a thematic devising. So when I was in France, we did like one about borders.
When you were in France.
That was my intro to devising was in French. It was a little wild.
Talk more about that. When were you in France? For how long? And for theater?
It was for a semester. It was
so cool.
It was an atelier, like a workshop. And we devised something. It was like me and a bunch of other international students devised a show around frontières, so borders. And so it was like borders of the imagination, borders of language, borders, I don't know, and just kind of tried things out until it worked. In grad school, we devised a show about Medusa. So that was super fun. Different stories around Medusa and themes about like present day Medusas. Who do we gorgonize in today's society? So even if it's like TTRPGs, it's like Dungeons and Dragons or other ways you get to, tell collaborative stories with other people.
We could do such a sick campaign with this.
Oh my god, that would be so sickening.
Fun.
Also, Medea, I forgot. I want to play Medea so bad. Anyways.
Judson, you should GM.
Thank you.
It sounded psyched.
Okay, so I don't know many plays, but when I was in college, I did take film courses, and I took a class called Films About Cops, and it was literally like you just watched movies about cops. And there's this one movie, I forgot the title, but the whole time it was being filmed through a handheld camera. And I love that type of film work because it just, I don't know, it makes you feel like you're in the movie with them. And so I've always wanted to like film like a project based like that. But and another dream of mine is, okay, so I love the movie Iron Giant.
That's my favorite movie of all time.
Gosh, it's so good.
I've wanted there to be a live action, and I want to be the star.
You know,
Would you be the kid or the giant?
I want to be the kid. Like,
Oh my god.
you know,
be the kid.
oh my goodness. All right.
Yeah.
If anybody listening to this knows me, knows that I'm really big on movies. And Iron Giant is my favorite of all time.
gosh,
To me, is the best movie ever made. You guys can fight me on this. And I'm like torn because yes, you are 100% valid. I would love like more of it, but I'm also like kind of cynical with all the nature of the reboots and stuff. Where
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God, dude.
it's so oversaturated. Where I'm like, don't touch this piece of art. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. But so I'm like,
It's not owned
I'm
by
very
Disney,
torn.
so it should be fine.
Tell us what you thought of the portrayal of the giant in Ready Player One.
oh, I refuse to watch that. I refuse. That's hashtag not my giant. Okay, so I'll go back to you guys. I just wanted to jump in there because I did that. I almost got your whole answer. I mean, I got the last leg. I mean, you got the audio, of course, but I got the last leg of the answer with the camera back up and running. That is a skill. That is a talent. And for a third episode, I think that's a slam dunk home run if I do say so myself. But
Alexandria, you look incredibly. You are someone that shows up so wonderfully
Yes.
on camera.
Oh my God.
You definitely should do film. It sounds like that's
100%.
something you. Oh my God, there's such a place for you.
Thank
to go.
you.
You could do
Okay.
so much.
When we were looking
Giving versatility.
through our photos that we took, it was like, how does Alex look good in
In every photo, guys.
She
All
could
of
not
them.
be paying attention. Just be in the background, and she'd look so
It's
beautiful.
just like ephemeral and like,
Oh my God, the hair, the lashes. Oh my God, and like your expressions too.
oh my god.
that is a birth given talent. That is
Look
a
at that
gift.
smile. Come on.
I'm like so happy. Oh my gosh, I love you guys. Like, and my Hamlet dreams are coming in. Like,
You're getting dreams?
I am getting dreams.
Wow.
What are you
And
dreaming?
it's like, okay, I was having deja vu during the fight.
Choreo.
Yes,
Fight
I was
choreo.
like, oh my God, I dreamed this. I was like, I had that dream. I woke up, I was so confused. I was like performing, but there was like a staircase, and I was like, and
Hamlet on a staircase.
every day I wake up saying my lines in my head. I'm like, Julie speaking with no audition.
No wonder you're off book so fast.
I can't stop. I can't, like, it's all day. I can't stop saying my lines.
What's cool about this is it's not like the first time, because during Liberty Valance at the Gilbert, which was right before the show, we were in it together, she would tell us about dreams.
Yeah.
That's such a good.
I've never had that. It always like ends with like someone dying or something super dramatic or something like that. It's not just like it sounds like you just got extra study in your dreams. You got unconscious
Astral
repeat.
projected and did character.
Sounds like the next Marvel movie, you know?
Doctor
The
Strange.
superhero.
I just had a dream about somebody I knew in elementary school doing a breakdance ballet. Like,
Oh my god.
that's where I'm at.
That sounds awesome.
It's just like, why?
And then finally, I totally cut you guys off, but was there anything else you want? We're talking about the dream casting. I know you're talking about Hogarth Hughes, my man.
But other than that, like, my dream is just like to act. Like, I just love acting, and I was just so used to just being by myself and like trying to learn by myself and do monologues and record myself and then critique myself, and then now like I'm put in a room full of like just wonderful actors, and I was like, oh my gosh, like. I was like, I don't belong here.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I was like, they're so good. I was like,
We rebuke
my
that imposter
gosh.
syndrome. No.
And finally,
If I was acting and we were talking about Shakespeare, I'd love to do Taming of the Shrew. I feel like the part I just did at the Gilbert kind of has that quality to it. So I'd like to explore it in Shakespeare. As far as acting outside of Shakespeare, Sam Shepard is one of my favorites.
Dude.
So just something about Sam Shepard and his writing I've just fallen in love with. So I would do anything that he does. I like Sarah Rule a whole lot. I've directed a couple of Sarah Rules, been able to be in a couple of them, and I'd love to revisit Dead Man's Cell Phone. And
I did a directing project with a scene in that.
her writing, I don't know, something very like, I don't know. But yeah, so, and then as far as directing, and honestly, I'm not sure right now. I'm very much in this right now, and in the moment of this, I would always love to write something again and get it made. I did that. I was lucky to do that last year with Party at Jay's, and I'd love to do it with another group of people, writing something and then just building something that is yours, but that other people share in. Is always something I love to do. I guess the dream of mine at this point in my life is just to, what's that saying? Just to bloom where you're at. So to be in my community, which is here, which is very rich in the arts, and help progress it and develop it, whether it's educationally or in the community theater.
So, you got me. Oh man, you got me inspired. You threw me for a curveball with the Iron Giant. First of all, beautiful answer. I want to say, like, I heard everything you were saying.
But in the back of your mind, you were just thinking.
I'm thinking about Iron Giant. I'm thinking.
Damn it, Alex. You know what? You go after me now.
This is your impact, Alex.
Switch seats. So with that being said, I want to turn the conversation a little bit, kind of migrating into. I want to know your guys' hot takes when it comes to this. As we're talking about the language of all these reboots, these movie reboots. I'm not going to try to make the Hamlet podcast about Disney live action reboots. But I want to hear you guys' take, because this is in the entertainment industry. We had her. She's cracking her knuckles, everyone. Audio listeners, you can't see it, but we're in for some throwdowns. But I want to hear you guys' hot take on whether you're for or against these reboots. There's people talking about that the animated films should not be touched. There's people talking about this should be put back in movies. The reboots are good because it's this next generation of children. So I want to hear your guys' take on that. And if you're for it, tell me what movie you think should be remade into a live action reboot. Except for you. Because you already said it. You already said it.
No more hot takes, Alex.
All right. Whoever wants it, the floor is open.
Xenon does.
Maleficent is fantastic.
Yes.
That's my hot take.
Interesting. Because although I wasn't the biggest fan of like watching it,
So you didn't like it. You can say you didn't like it, dude.
But that's not really true, because that's one of my favorite live action reboots, all things considering, because they took like the live action thing and they didn't like reboot it completely.
No.
They made a completely different story. So I really respect that. It wasn't my favorite thing to watch. You know, I love Angelina Jolie, but I got to credit it for that. All right, I'll stop talking now. I'll shut up.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
That's it?
All right.
It's kind of.
Let me
Sorry.
switch the camera back to me, Jensen. Oh my god, oh my gosh. I hate remakes. I think they're stupid. I think they don't wait long enough. Like, why are we doing The Lion King, dude? Why are we doing that? And also, it's like, for what? It just feels like a money grab, which, like, duh, it's Disney, of course. But it's like, I don't know, man. Could you not just put all that time and money and resources into making like an original story? It feels like less artistry in it, and it's just like, what can we churn out quickly that we know will? It's like, I could get into the whole capitalism and the arts and how they intersect and why I hate it, but
let's talk after the podcast. We got some things to say. We got some things to share. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As somebody who got her MBA and an MA in theater, I feel that like capitalism and the arts can be really icky also. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny because we're doing a show now that's like 400 years old. It like has been rebooted.
We are what we hate. That's insane.
okay, but
yeah, it doesn't mean you can't.
We're remaking The Lion King right now.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Lion King was a reboot of this.
Oh my God, it's a cycle. It's a circle.
I know.
Chasing our tails.
Yeah, I think they can be interesting. They can add something new to the story, or they cannot, which is a really ambivalent answer. But I think what I champion is just like the local community has a ton of stories too. So fund local artists.
Yes.
Let them create things.
I think so. You're you're hopeful for a good live action reboot, but the execution so far hasn't always hit the nail on the head, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I
That
think,
makes sense.
yeah, there's a lot of other stories that can be told. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I don't know how I really feel about like reboots because as a little girl, I love Clifford. And then I see that they have a live action Clifford and I watched it and I literally was like, glad it was over. I was like,
Derivative, contrived.
I knew where that was going.
but I do like, okay, so scary movie, like parodies, like
Oh yeah.
don't like you don't have to like. Well,
Is
I
that a
guess-
remake though?
Yeah, it's not like you're. Yeah, not like you're remaking a movie, but you're just like
Inspired.
Yes,
Spin-off, yeah.
I like those. So yeah.
I say, how do you feel about the new Winnie the Pooh?
Oh, you're talking about the horror remake?
Yeah.
Oh,
Christ.
I didn't know there was.
I thought that was a meme.
Is it a meme?
no.
I don't
See,
think it's
I-
real.
The thing is,
oh my God.
the beauty,
I mean, the fact that we would not be surprised. I know. Says something about the society.
the beauty of the lovely beauty of our culture is that sometimes things are born from memes. And sometimes memes are born from things. You know, like let's talk
Sonic the
about
Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Chewie the
It was a movie, like, granted, it was a movie already, but it was bullied and memed on so hard that it became a really good time. And the second
Bullied
one,
them into quality animation.
the second one was so good.
Pro
I actually really love the second one. I'm a big Sonic fan too. So
Sonic
it's
head.
like,
Will we reference meme culture in our Hamlet production? We have to
No.
see it and
We'll
find
see.
it.
will Sonic make a guest cameo appearance?
Actually, Sonic's playing Hamlet.
Yeah, but yeah, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is an actual existing movie coming in production. I think it's coming out this year too, actually. But
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely, go for it.
Okay, so what is the movie with Dwayne Johnson and these two kids? They're like
Oh,
aliens.
Race to Witch Mountain.
Okay,
Race
Race
to
to
Witch
Witch Mountain.
Mountain.
Okay, the old version is really good, and that version is also really good.
Yes.
So like I really like both versions. And then Firestarter, or was it called Firestarter?
The Stephen King adaptation, it just got rebooted like this year or
Yeah.
last.
So the old version, I really liked that one. The new one, I walked away from. I couldn't even finish it because I was like.
Walked away from like theater or like where you just.
Well, I was watching it on Peacock, and
Oh, okay.
I was like, I got
Respectable.
better things to do.
I got some monologues to take.
Yeah, right. I got some Hamlet to dream about. No, thank you.
My dreams are more interesting than this. Come on.
I think there are instances where, yeah, a reboot can be good, but I think, in my opinion, I think things should not be. I think things that maybe like I've seen movies in the 60s and 70s, like if it was redone now, just because of the production quality, or if it was done by a different director, or maybe a different actor was casted, that was a little more skilled, I could see it being great because the story was great. Yeah. So, and me and my husband talk about this all the time. I think remaking movies that are already great is like a cash cow, especially if it's a kid's movie. I think maybe revisiting things that was a great idea but just not well executed for whatever reason would be something to explore. Shakespeare, I think, one, it's a play, and plays are redone all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, something's different about Shakespeare and about classical because there's so many. Yeah, you got to be true to the text, but there's so many ways you can go with it.
I feel like the way that Shakespeare includes, and of course, I'm no Shakespeare buff by any stretch of the imagination, so I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm here for good times and fun times and movies and Iron Giant and Hogarth Hughes. But I'm getting the vibe of like Shakespeare has an idea and a certain vision when it was first brought up, but he left it kind of like in a way ambiguous and able to stretch. And there's just something about that. And correct me if I'm wrong, or if you guys have a different take from it, but it just is so malleable and you can easily adapt it. And it invites that kind of stuff. Whereas like if you throw me a Disney movie, you have confines and limitations, and especially with like the audience that they have. They want, when they go into a next Lion King or Aladdin or whatever, they want more of what they liked before. So inviting that kind of change, they're kind of limited to it.
And also, it's a great excuse to throw in a big celebrity and then be like, oh, here, more money.
But also, and also you got to understand that the internet is a very toxic place. And because of how popular it is, if they do try to do something unruly, like throw in a gay character or something like that, then you have plenty of internet fans that are still going to watch it, but they're going to like leave very terrible Yelp reviews for a Disney movie. And you know,
also-
like it doesn't make sense.
And also, Disney's idea of throwing in a gay character is like a breadcrumb in the ocean.
Right.
You know, like they've had like 5 first gay characters, and it's always the same. It's always like 2 frames on screen. The women are kissing, but they're out of focus. This woman says she has a girlfriend, but she has one line and then is never addressed again in the movie.
Right.
And they want the clout, but they don't actually want to give us a place to tell our stories.
Yep. So, back to Hamlet. Because I'm having a great time. I just know that I'm going to want to talk more about this. And if I say everything that I believe now, it's not going to be able for another episode. And this is going to be the last question before we close out, because I know we're having a great time. And I don't want to hold you guys hostage or anything. But last question, going back to Hamlet, I want to ask what everyone's like personal biggest challenge is. Whether it's, this new SIP series, adapting to that, taking on multiple iconic, well-known characters, and embodying that, using the limited space, whatever that may be for your own personal weight, and what you're doing to combat that, basically. And this is open again for whoever wants to jump in.
I can start.
Yeah.
Cool. So originally, I was very, very. Anytime I do like Shakespeare, especially something that's like as iconic as this, I'm stressed about getting it. This is something that I have to work on as an actor. Instead of thinking about getting to the truth of the scene, I think about doing it right, which is like, for me, a one-way ticket to I'm in my head, I'm not living in the moment, I'm not actually feeling what's happening in my body. I'm just thinking, my brain is literally tense, and I'm like, how should my face look right now? And that's not helpful.
Getting in your head about it.
I'm getting in, yeah. So at first I was like, oh God, like, I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want to do Ophelia and do it wrong. I don't, like, I guess that comes from like a lack of confidence in my own abilities maybe, but it always is very helpful. I really don't remember the question, and I'm just rambling at this point.
Biggest challenges.
Thank you. That has kind of gone away as I've like had more time with the text and I've done more work on it, as it always does. But and yeah, now I think the biggest challenge is going to be just stitching everything together, because we have so many cool concepts, but right now we're still in that in-between phase where it's like we're ready for Tech Week, but it's you know how it is.
Yeah.
Where, like, you have all the pieces, but you haven't put the puzzle together yet, and you don't know how everything's going to fit. Yeah, that's going to be also acting while there's a flashlight in your hand and light shining in your face. They're so bright, you guys. They're so bright. Whoever wants to go next.
My biggest challenge, I guess, would have to be being new to the whole acting scene. And what I am doing, I am observing, I am soaking it all, and I am listening, I am watching, like, I pay attention to every detail. And that, oh my gosh, when Xenon is saying her lines,
Yes.
I am just like, oh my God, like, and I will take mental notes. I'm just taking mental notes, and then also just practicing. I've never taken an acting class in my life. I literally looked up on YouTube acting classes and was watching it on YouTube. Like, I was doing that. So I am just learning as I'm going. Yep.
You are an actor. And the
are
fact
an
that you're
actor.
Yeah, like that.
passionate and you're seeking it out yourself, you're an actor.
You have a very deep wealth of, I don't even know the right word, but there's
Instinct.
instinct.
Unadulterated instinct.
And that doesn't-
It
that
comes
does-
out and it's so easy. Like Claudia will give you one direction, and it's like a switch flips.
That
And it's
doesn't
like-
come naturally. I mean, that doesn't come with everyone. Not everyone can do that. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what we were saying last night. Like,
Yeah.
The more you tap
Because
into
we were
it,
workshopping a Willow Grows a Scantabrook, and like
Yeah.
just seeing what
It
you did
was
with it was so
fun.
I
fun.
loved our rehearsal last night.
That
Like,
was
It was a
awesome.
I
party.
was like,
That was
oh my gosh.
Good time. But yeah, Alex and all these, it's me just, honestly, my approach with this one, and I know we're going off a different way now, I'm sorry. My approach with this one, I've had directing jobs where it's been more like, you do this, you do that, you go. I haven't had to do that with this, and I don't feel like I need to, because everybody comes in, yeah, there are things to tweak, and there are things we're still tweaking, and I'm the type of person, we're gonna be tweaking those until the show is up. However, but I feel like my job has been mainly just facilitating what they have been creating and growing, because I think that's more interesting coming from them than me just saying, do it this way. I don't think that would be a good time, because they're all great actors.
Yeah.
What was the question?
What's the challenge?
We were talking about big challenges, but while you were saying that, like, that's what I was talking about earlier in the episode, how it's always so fascinating to see actors in the element, because of course that I've been on that side before in acting, and when you just see people just brainstorming and they're making choices, and it's coming, and you see and hear that snap in their head. Well, maybe not here. That's a little. You might need to see a doctor if you see some snap in the head.
Some
But
ESP.
yeah, but you can see when things click, and when you bring an idea and it just works. And being like witnessing that for one day, I could just imagine what the entire rehearsal process is like. So major kudos to you guys. So
Thank you.
Yeah, but biggest challenges was the question.
Challenges. I think stepping into this week is just making sure that I am there for what they need, making sure that it's these little pieces here and there that get done in some way, however it has to be completed. So that's my main challenge right now. I know it'll be done, I know it'll be fine, but I also know how I am. And when I have a checkoff list, I can't, it's in my brain in the back all day, every day until it's checked off. So I think that's the challenge, is just making sure that I am giving them what they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, so even though I've engaged with the show before, I've certainly never thought about it from the perspective of the characters I'm playing. I mean, I'm a 26-year-old female. Like, whenever I tell somebody I'm in Hamlet right now, I'm like, okay, and guess the least likely parts you think I would play in the show, and you'll find my track.
Exactly.
But so it's just been both exhilarating and challenging to reframe the show from their perspective and figure out how to make these characters my own, and how they're built into the story for our version has been a challenge, but also super fun. And I think there will be a lot of depth there eventually.
Right.
Sorry.
So my biggest challenge with Hamlet textually has always been his misogyny, which is an aspect you cannot ignore as a reader, especially as a woman reader, but an aspect that has just gone almost entirely unexamined in the critical discourse over the last 400 years. And that was why I had a phase of loving Hamlet, and then I suddenly fell out of Hamlet when I started, understanding things about the world. Because, a line from his first soliloquy, "Frailty, thy name is woman," he is 100% sincere about that. He is not being ironic. He goes on various different misogynistic rants. He is physically violent, typically, with both Ophelia and Gertrude. And the critical tradition has been to read the play Hamlet completely through the lens of Hamlet, because he talks so much and you get such a clear picture of how he sees the world, and productions tend to warp themselves around the reality Hamlet has constructed, and therefore that's the lens you also see Ophelia and Gertrude through, which is why Ophelia's soliloquy, besides Claudius, she is the only other character whose unadulterated thoughts we ever hear in soliloquy, besides Hamlet, and that has gone almost completely unexamined by critics, and it's actually probably the key to understanding Hamlet. So one of the benefits of having a severely cut down version of the text is that I don't have to go on stage and say, "Frailty, thy name is woman." I don't have to go on stage and complain about women painting their faces and deceiving men. And it's opened up some very interesting opportunities for our interpretation of Hamlet as a character and why it might be me playing him. So this production has actually been the perfect way to work back through all of those perpetual sticking points with the character and therefore the play.
Yeah, this is it's always so fascinating to see like traditional characters that people growing up would be like, I'll never be able to play that character. And today's time, it's all fair game.
Bing, bang,
There's,
boom.
they have colorblind casting. They also have they're using it as a choice to cast people of color, even if it's a historical thing. And we're okay with that. And we love to see that. So just that opportunity being more open for a wide variety of people of different race, genders, sexuality, anything like that. I am so here for it. I'm so glad you all have the opportunity to be in that show. And I'm very glad you had the opportunity to come chat with me to talk about some fun stuff. We're about to close out. I'm going to have Claudia tell me about details of the show where you...
Can I say something very quick?
Oh,
I'm
snap.
so
Go
sorry.
ahead. No,
I'm so
you're
sorry.
fine. You're fine.
While, yes, there have been efforts made for colorblind casting and all of that, I just want to highlight that there are still a lot of disparities in
100%.
the theater universe in general, and we still have a long way to go.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, and like I said, I'm so we're on that. It needs to be better right now, but we are slowly inching towards it. And though I'm impatient and I need it right now, I'm glad there is some effort, right? Because we haven't had that kind of opportunity in even 10 years' time. So. Anywho, we're wrapping up. We're going to have Claudia tell you about the details of the show, where you can find it and all the dates. But real quick, I just want to say I apologize if in the final cut of this, if there is that, because I'm looking at the monitors right now and I'm seeing that little blinking Wi-Fi signal in camera 3. You guys have not gotten a break because you had a battery dying in the first camera and the second one with the little Wi-Fi signal. So if I can't trim that out or get that off, I apologize, video watchers. But we're going to close out today's episode with Claudia telling you about the details of when and where you can find Hamlet.
Sure. Hamlet is November 4th. These are the public performances. November 4th through 6th in Fayetteville Downtown Market, 325 Blunt Street. Tickets are $12 to $30. There are group rates available. And go to sweetteashakespeare.com. If you are an educator, teacher, principal, go to sweetteashakespeare.com. There's a contact there for you to book shows for public performances. For school performances, we would love to come share this with you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Tea shakes.
Sweet tea shake. Sweet tea shake. But thank you guys so much for listening, audio listeners and video watchers. We are so glad you are here with us today, and we cannot wait to see you in the next episode of the Sweet Tea Shakespeare podcast. Thank you guys all for joining me, and we're gonna sign off with a little sing-songy goodbye. Ready, guys?
No, I'm not.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And